remember, you can press the space bar to highlight all objects in the current scene.
Oh my god!
Meanwhile...
That was fun.
That's twice he's been knocked out on this cruise.
Man, what a crazy cruise. These people know how to party.
A wet towel works miracles. I told you so.
Out with it.
Well, I suppose we don't have a real doctor anymore, so...
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Let the constable recover his breath.
He almost killed himself.
No, the doctor almost killed him.
What?
Dr. Gebhardt would have taken care of that for me. Where is he?
Yeah,
Gebhardt? He's vanished without a trace.
I knew it.
We're searching the
See,
ship
this
from
is where
top
the whole
to
thing of trying to find the
One at a
original
time.
blueprints and stuff
What
of the ship
did you
is going to
find
come
out?
in.
Yeah.
Dr. Gebhardt killed Baroness
Like
von
the
Trebitz.
ship model directly outside of the medical
Do you
cabin.
have proof?
Besides the fact that he wanted to kill me?
But wasn't the doctor with you when the shot was fired?
The shot.
Shot came from a tape.
The shot that we heard was a recording. The Baroness had a tape recorder and good speakers in her cabin. Good enough to make the noise audible on the upper deck.
Is that just your suspicion, or do you have proof?
There's an audio tape in the medical
Yeah, hopefully
center.
the doctor
The
didn't
reel
steal it or
belongs
destroy
to the
it.
tape
Yeah, he
player in
probably
the
stole it.
Baroness's
Yeah.
cabin. And there's a sibling reel in her cabin that belongs to the recorder in the medical center. After a few minutes, there's a loud bang on the audio.
My ass.
That's our gunshot.
Where did Gebhardt get it from?
He recorded it in the cargo hold. His
This
tape
mystery
recorder
stuff must
has
be
a
like porn to the
microphone,
old lady.
And I
Right?
removed a
Tell me
bullet
more.
from
Tell
one of
me
the
more.
boxes down there.
And it came
Oh,
from
you
the-
big-
Gonna write a book about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I compared it to
course.
the other bullet
Called
in
the
the
Raven.
inspector's cabin.
Of course.
She made a video game, in fact.
All right.
Hi,
Hi,
doofus.
Officer Duffy.
Inspector
What?
Legrand.
Let's pretend you're onto something. The shot we heard was just a recording. What happened next?
We all ran to the Baroness's cabin. She lay comatose in a pool of blood. Dr. Gebhardt
But she was poisoned
pushed past
earlier,
you so
and
that
then
you
he
couldn't
placed
get
the
too
blood in the
close to the
evidence.
Baroness.
Yep.
He examined her and pronounced her dead. There was no reason for us to doubt
But
him.
she's alive.
The shot, the blood, the Baroness lying there lifelessly. But she was only unconscious, knocked out by the chloral hydrate that the doctor had poured into her glass shortly before.
The doctor had a glass in his hand when you came in.
He wanted to remove the evidence, but you gave me the glass instead, Captain DeConti, and unintentionally knocked me out as well.
Nonsense. There was blood everywhere. And the Baroness is certainly dead enough, isn't she?
Then who did shoot her? And when?
She wasn't shot, she was poisoned.
Yep.
Yeah.
She wasn't shot, she was poisoned.
And yet I saw the hole in her chest with my own eyes.
Aha!
She must have been shot.
Well, ingenious. Where was she shot?
Oh.
Oh, right, she was shot. Because there was still...
As I already said, it was Dr. Gebhardt. He had the sleeping Baroness brought to the medical center, where he had all the time in the world to shoot her.
A fine theory, but unfortunately incorrect. I examined the Baroness before she was taken away. She had a bullet wound in her chest.
Besides which, she was already cold when we brought her to the medical center.
All the
Oh.
same, it's worth considering the possibility. The doctor was alone in the cabin for a while. When the alarm went off, it was deafening. I couldn't even hear myself.
Right, because there
And
was
Okay.
I found
a
a
shot in the
pillow
pillow.
with burn marks.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah, I forgot about that too.
Muffle a
Oh,
gunshot.
I'm stupid.
And the blood?
The blood wasn't real. Dr. Gebhardt mixed up a liquid that looked like fresh blood to the casual observer, but the liquid remained red instead of becoming darker and browner from exposure to the air. That meant he had to clean the body and get rid of the bedding.
But the blood was already there when we first entered the cabin.
Dr. Gebhardt was in the Baroness's cabin before the murder. He hid a surgical glove full
Yep.
of the red liquid under her sheet. The
That's right, 'cause he
Baroness,
went to check
dead
on her.
tired,
She was-
fell onto her bed.
Felt sick.
The glove
Yeah,
burst,
tired.
and the blood spread across the bed. I found the burst glove in
That's
the
probably why
medical
she
center.
screamed. She saw the blood
Why did he
Yeah.
do it?
and screamed.
What was his motive?
Probably on this piece of paper.
Yeah. My bet is money.
I don't think it's related to the jewel, though.
I think blackmail because she said she knew the murderer.
I think, yeah.
The Baroness was blackmailing Dr. Gebhardt.
What's your reason?
Isn't blackmail always a good motive?
It's worthless without proof.
No.
Why not?
It had to do with the Eye of the Sphinx. The Baroness was supposed to bring one of the keys to Cairo.
So Dr. Gebhardt was the Raven.
I don't think so, but perhaps he was working
Yeah.
with him.
See, that's what I
Yeah.
think too.
No, no, no.
Do you have anything to contribute, Constable?
Confession, sir.
What?
Dr. Gebhardt was the Raven. It's all here. He admits to everything.
What does it say?
It says, do you still remember, my dear Nico? The streets were wet with rain and the scent of roasted barley and fermenting yeast wafted over to us from the brewery. The dog barked until your shot struck down the innocent one. After that silence, not a single sound except for my soft steps fading on the wet cobblestone.
And he's a
street.
writer, apparently.
Yeah.
They made a hero of you, and I, at last, found peace. At
Maybe the
least
old lady is
until
actually the
urge
Raven and
returns.
she's just trying to do
Some
all
of us
this
are
to,
not
like,
made for retirement,
you know, for
my
PR
friend.
for her new book.
I thought we would
Maybe.
assign this case to you, and that thought pleased me. We'd finally find out who was
It's
truly
actually,
better.
there was a serial
And it pains
killer
me now to
who
have to admit that you and your little gumshoe got
he
the
did a lot of
better me.
artwork, and then he
You
wanted
drove me into a corner.
he wanted to get famous, so
Forced
he
me
murdered
to make
people
mistakes.
to
I
try
congratulate
and
you on your
become
try,
a famous, you
but
know,
no
serial
one
killer
will
artist.
confine the
Yeah.
Raven to a cage. There is but one way out, and
That's
that
one reason why
by
people
my
talk
own
about
hand.
how the
Farewell,
obsession with
Raven
murderabilia
Hunter.
is
Off.
bad because it makes serial killers. Because people who are crazy and want to get famous will become
Inspector
serial
Ross.
killers just for
Is
the
he gonna
fame
jump
of
off
it.
the boat?
New pictures unlocked.
I am obviously a waste of Inspector. I will leave now.
Well, see, he never made mention that he was the doctor
Yeah.
in the note.
No, he didn't.
Inspector?
I was right. I told them all, over and over again, but no one would listen.
That's how I feel.
You think that Dr. Gebhardt was really the Raven?
The things Gebhardt describes in his letter aren't part of any police report. Only
But how do they
someone
know
who was
that the
there.
doctor wrote that?
Couldn't
Yeah.
there have been others involved? One of the police,
I mean, there was
for
initials
instance.
at the
What
end
if
of it.
one of them changed sides?
Said R.
Why is it
Well,
so
for
hard
Raven,
for you to
yeah.
accept
Okay.
the simple truth? There was never a new Raven. There was only ever the old one. And that was Dr. Gebhardt.
The modus operandi doesn't match. The Raven was not a killer.
Legends are rarely what they seem to be.
I mean,
Constable
you know,
Zellner.
they can escalate. I mean, real life,
Yeah, I guess.
you know, but because an MO never usually stays the same. You know,
Well, that's for like serial killers.
I suppose.
I mean, a thief. I guess if stealing things didn't give him a thrill anymore, they would transition to murder.
Then
Well, I
who
mean,
was the
like
man
in real
who was
life,
killed back
oftentimes even serial
William
killers
Jackson,
start out as something
a
else,
pet
like serial arsonists or
committed some
serial
burglaries
rapists,
together with his brother.
and then they go into
Talented,
murder
but
later.
not world class.
And they
For
thought
example,
he
you know,
was
they
the
might be a
Raven.
serial rapist,
people
and then
thought it
you know,
was
finally
part
one
of
day
his
they
disguise.
murder the girl that they
If
raped so
you're
that they
a
don't get
debonair
caught,
master
and then
Yeah.
eventually
what
that
better
murder becomes
disguise
part
than
of the
pretending to be
fantasy,
a common crook?
and then they
From
become a
time
serial
to
killer.
time you let them
So,
catch you
but as far
pulling
as
small
thieving,
jobs.
no, I mean it
No
is
one ever
far
imagined
less
you're
likely that a
capable of
serial
major
thief
heists.
becomes a serial
But
killer.
you didn't believe it.
I
It's
had my
usually
doubts,
arson
but
and
everyone congratulated me, and those doubts were pushed
arson,
aside.
rape.
It was like being
molestation.
caught in a storm.
You know,
But
that can
eventually the
lead to
storm
something
passed,
more.
and my doubts were still there.
But not this time? No
But it's kind of
doubts
interesting
telling
to
you
note
that
that they're
Gebhardt
the
isn't
Green
our
River
man?
killer.
It
They were
must
having a really hard time catching him for a while, and they actually went to Bundy to ask, what
Really?
do you
What about
think?
the
Yeah, so they
handwriting?
sent him.
The
They sent
wording?
Bundy a bunch
Does the
of
farewell letter match
information
the
about the Green
Raven's
River
other
Killer
letters?
to
Yes,
get his
it's his
perspective. And
handwriting.
Bundy said, "Look,
His work.
and what had happened
I've
was
read
the
all
Green
the
River
Raven's
suddenly
letters,
stopped."
all of them, over
And
over
he
again.
just no more murders were
I
happening,
never
and this
thought
was
it
very
was
against
possible.
what they
A
thought. They thought
resurrected
he'd be
Raven.
escalating, not stopping.
The
Yeah.
Raven
So they sent it
was
to
never
Bundy, and
dead.
Bundy said, "Well, he hasn't
I
stopped.
shot
You
the
just
wrong
can't."
man.
But
So
that man had the
he's
stolen
changed who
goods,
he's
didn't he?
murdering, and the most
So he
logical
must have
change
been
is he
in
went
league
from
with the Raven.
killing
One could hardly call him
people in
innocent.
clubs to someone that would be
Where
easier,
do we
such
go
as
from here?
prostitutes or runaways.
We
And so
deliver
they
the eye
finally
and then our
cross-referenced
contact
murders
Task
to
force will
runaways
compare all
and
of
prostitutes
Gepard's
and
known
found the
residencies
MO
with the
again
Raven's
in
activity.
those groups of people.
And
They just
if
weren't
there
looking.
are any
So actually Bundy was a big
You're
help
welcome
in
to keep
catching
an
the
eye
Green
on the
River
safe
Killer.
if you can't let it go. The ship will
The
remain
more
in
you
Cairo
know.
for 1 day. That's all the time you'll have to catch your own Raven. I already have mine.
Good day, sir.
See, I still don't think there's a connection between Gebhardt. I think the Raven might have gotten rid of Gebhardt and then planted the note. Hey, we're in Cairo now.
Sweet.
Ah, you're one of Legrand's men, aren't you?
My name is Anton
There's also
Jakob
still the question
Zellner.
of the kid
You've
that
come
we
just
caught,
in
who was
time.
obviously alone.
Grace, my
Yeah.
dachshund is missing.
Oh, okay.
There
I guess I'm
may
gonna go
be
find a
more
dog
important
now.
matters for me to attend to, Mr.
Director Abbas Mokhtar.
Mokhtar.
And Grace
Good name.
isn't just a common
Abbas
dog.
Mokhtar.
She's a purebred German dachshund, a champion.
A champion!
So,
Geek
the
man!
exhibition will
Champion
still
of
open
justice!
tonight.
But of course, everything has been arranged. The final preparations are almost complete.
Final countdown.
one
Oh
of the
god, I
two
just made a
exhibits
joke
won't
you'd
be
make.
there.
A terrible loss. A tragedy. An irreplaceable
no.
Egyptian cultural treasure has
Down,
been
Trevor.
stolen for the second time.
The second time.
What?
Go pee.
Did you really
Why don't you go
believe
pee?
that
Go
the
pee.
eye of the Sphinx was found lying on the banks of the Thames?
Inspector Legrand.
Inspector Legrand, Professor Lucien, and Constable Oliver are overseeing the transportation of the safe.
Chase, you hungry
They
yet?
should be here at any moment.
You hungry there?
I'll have a look around in the meantime.
Do you think
I'm gonna
that's
do like
necessary?
chicken and mashed
The
potatoes.
Raven is dead after all.
If you mean
Alright,
Dr.
chicken
Gebhardt,
definitely. Just I'm thinking mashed
his
potatoes.
body was never recovered. Nor the stolen eye of the Sphinx, for that
Alright,
matter.
we'll end soon.
It does us a great
As soon as I finish
honor
talking to
that
this
the
dude.
inspector is concerned about us. But we have everything under control.
Legrand isn't as concerned as he should be, but I am. Is the museum closed?
Yes. Only carefully selected guests may enter the museum during preparations for the gala. And of course, you're one of them, Mr. Constable.
I'm now Mr. Constable.
What can you tell me about the museum's security system?
So as soon as I'm done
One of
talking to
the
this guy, I'm
best on
going
the
to
market.
Mr. Constable
The
was
second
my
part
father.
will still be
gonna cook dinner after
exhibited
this.
in our
Okay.
special treasure chamber, which is extra secure.
Treasure chamber?
See for yourself.
Giggity.
To the right of the entrance. The eye is as safe as the British Crown.
But I find it interesting that in the previous chapter, you know, I had suspicions about the air shaft and all sorts of stuff, but that never seemed to come into play.
Yeah, true. Well,
I
because
think I'll
Maybe
have
it
a
was
look
a
around the
conversation
museum.
tree.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah, maybe.
do. There's a lot to see. And you let me know if you see Grace, won't you? I hope we find her before the great inspector arrives. Isn't it fantastic how he solved the murder on the ship?
yeah.
Legrand?
Of course.
Oh
it's in
god,
all
this
the
is seriously
newspapers.
like, you know,
What a dick.
Murder of the wealthy Baroness von
This is so
Trebitz,
Sherlock
and how the
Holmes
great
happening right now.
Inspector Legrand identified
Speaking
the
of dick,
murderer in
Baldy
just
didn't
one
change his
day.
shirt.
It's the stuff legends
He didn't
are
bring
made
any
of.
luggage.
You
I don't
should
think-
count
yeah.
yourself lucky to have the
Buy
chance
a
to
shirt.
learn from
I think he's just bumming around the world right now.
And no one bothered to look through
What?
the fucking boat for the guy?
What
Nope.
exactly do the newspapers say?
everything. It's fantastic.
But seriously,
Someone
you have to
on board
question, they were
must have
on a boat in the
informed press
ocean.
immediately.
Where did the doctor
Of
go?
course,
And now we're
it's
just
a
suddenly
great
in Cairo.
advertising
Yeah.
for us. The
And he
reporters
got
will
off the
queue up
ship and he's
tonight.
somewhere in the city
And
now,
it was
right?
reported that Legrand
What the
found
fuck?
the murderer.
Of course. Who else?
Like, that whole
Well,
thing about
I
the
wasn't exactly
upgrades to that ship and, you know,
Of
finding the
course.
original version of it
Your
never
surely has a
meant
system.
anything either.
Yeah.
Honor to he who deserves to be honored, right?
Well then,
Be seeing you, Constable.
Alright, fine.
Grace, here, Gracie. Oh, my
Oof.
sweetheart. Where are
Butler.
you?
oh, Mr. Inch.
Mr.
That can't be
Inch.
his real name.
There you are. I am so sorry. Baroness von Krebitz was a good-hearted woman. She did so
Why
much for the
is he
museum.
flogging me?
As you say, sir.
And you? Are you leaving so soon?
I'd like to go back to my hotel.
He just
These
did something, didn't he?
last
He
days
just
have been
fucking
such
set up
strain.
something in the treasure room.
First,
Yeah,
you
maybe.
sneak into the museum without greeting me, and then you want to leave
I
just
bet
as
he did
quickly?
something.
I didn't want to disturb you, and we'll have time enough tonight.
Yes. You
Like, I'm starting to
simply
wonder
must
about the whole
come
thing.
tonight.
Like, maybe
I
she
wanted
didn't
to
die at
present
all.
Baroness von Trebitz
Then
with
where
a
did
medal.
she go?
Now you'll have to accept it.
Of course.
But you think they'd notice a dead
Insist,
body
sir.
missing and that would come up,
The
I guess.
Baroness
Yeah.
paid for all this. Without her, there wouldn't have been an exhibition.
But then if the Baroness
or a
paid for
gala.
all of this,
She was very generous.
you know, maybe it's because she
Yes,
wanted to be able to steal the
was.
jewels.
If you'll excuse me now. Constable Zellner.
I don't know.
want to
I'm
thank
just-
you
I don't
again
know. I'm
for
bullshitting
all
here.
you've
I'm also
done.
wondering, like, if the
Saved
final
me,
destination
you
was
say?
Cairo,
My pleasure.
and this is the start of chapter 2, where else are we going in chapter 3?
Who knows? It's an adventure!
You mean like Zelda?
Fuck you!
Speaking of Zelda, Link's voice in Zelda Wii U has a deeper voice.
Really?
Yeah, they got a new Zelda dude.
A new Zelda dude?
Zelda dude.
Wouldn't it be great if Zelda was a girl? I think you're in control now.
I am, but I have to cook dinner.
Time for dinner! Alright. That was fun. Thanks for watching. We'll be back soon, probably next week.
Yep. Yep.